Was I wrong for what I did, or was my crush a complete idiot for falling for it? Honestly, I'm still not sure, and I need you all to tell me in the comments if you would have done the same thing. Because what started as a joke, a silly dare, turned into the most insane, convoluted, and frankly, hilarious mess of my entire life. I faked being Ariana Grande to meet my crush, and it somehow actually worked. Let me take you back to where this whole ridiculous saga began. My name is Maya, and for the past year, I had been completely, utterly, and hopelessly obsessed with a guy named Liam. Liam was the kind of guy who seemed to float through life on a cloud of effortless cool. He was in my history class, a year above me, and everything about him just screamed unattainable dream. He had this messy, dark brown hair that always looked perfectly windswept, eyes the color of warm honey that crinkled at the corners when he smiled, and a laugh that could honestly make your day. He was smart, athletic, and surprisingly kind, volunteering at the local animal shelter. Basically, he was perfect. The only problem? He barely knew I existed. I was just another face in the crowded hallways, another silent admirer among many. I'd tried the usual tactics, bumping into him, accidentally, in the hall, strategically sitting near him in the library, even volunteering for the same school fundraiser he was involved with. Nothing. He was polite, friendly even, but there was no spark, no recognition beyond a fleeting, courteous nod. My friends, bless their hearts, were both my biggest cheerleaders and my harshest critics. My best friend, Chloe, was the pragmatic one. Maya, she'd say, rolling her eyes, just talk to him. Ask him about his history project. Anything. But I was paralyzed by fear. What if I said something stupid? What if he thought I was weird? My other friend, Sam, was the chaotic one, always pushing the boundaries, always looking for a laugh. And that, my friends, is where Ariana Grande comes into play. It was a particularly miserable Tuesday afternoon. We were all crammed into Chloe's living room, ostensibly studying for a biology test, but mostly just complaining about our lives. The topic, as it always did, veered to Liam. I was lamenting my lack of progress, feeling utterly defeated. He's practically a celebrity in this school, I whined, burying my face in a pillow. I need a gimmick. Something to make him notice me. Sam, ever the instigator, suddenly perked up. A gimmick, you say? What if you were a celebrity? Chloe scoffed. Sam, be serious. She needs actual advice. But Sam's eyes were gleaming. No, hear me out. What if you pretended to be, like, a famous person? Just for a laugh. Imagine his face. My heart, against all logic, started to pound. Who would I even pretend to be? I asked, half joking, half intrigued. Sam snapped her fingers. Ariana Grande. You've got the high ponytail sometimes, you're short, you could totally pull off the vibe. Get some oversized hoodies, some thigh-high boots, maybe a bit more makeup. Think about it, Maya. He'd have to notice you then. Chloe was already shaking her head. This is insane, Sam. Maya, do not listen to her. You'll get caught and it'll be mortifying. But a seed had been planted. The idea, as ludicrous as it was, felt exhilarating. It was so far out there, so completely ridiculous, that it almost felt genius. I knew it was a terrible idea. I knew I would probably regret it. But the thought of finally getting Liam's attention, even under false pretenses, was too tempting to resist. The next few days were a whirlwind of planning, mostly orchestrated by Sam, with Chloe providing a constant stream of worried warnings. First, the look. I didn't have a signature high ponytail all the time, but I could certainly do it. I already owned a few oversized sweaters, and we found a surprisingly good pair of knockoff thigh-high boots online. We practiced my Ariana Grande walk, which mostly involved me awkwardly trying to strut and failing spectacularly. The voice was harder. I couldn't sing for my life, so that was out. But Sam insisted I could adopt a slightly breathier, more whimsical tone of speaking. Just sound a little bit removed, like you're constantly thinking about your next world tour, she instructed. The biggest challenge was how to actually get close to Liam as Ariana. We couldn't just walk up to him in the hallway. That would be instantly suspicious. We needed an event, a reason for a celebrity to be at our very uncelebrity high school. And then, Sam had another stroke of genius. Our school was hosting a charity talent show. It was a big deal, and Liam was rumored to be performing a song on his guitar. Perfect. We decided that Ariana Grande would make a surprise appearance. Not to perform because that would be too difficult to fake, but as a special guest, a benevolent pop star gracing our humble event. The night of the talent show arrived, and I was a nervous wreck. My stomach was doing flips and my hands were clammy. Chloe had given me a stern lecture an hour before we left. Maya, if you get caught, I'm disowning you. Also, don't actually try to sing. Sam, on the other hand, was practically vibrating with excitement. She had managed to secure us backstage passes through a friend who was helping with the event, a friend who thought it was hilarious and promised to keep our secret. I was decked out in the full Ariana ensemble, sky-high ponytail, a ridiculously oversized hoodie that swallowed me whole, those thigh-high boots, and a healthy dose of sparkly eyeshadow. I even had a couple of bodyguards, two of Sam's older brothers, who, despite their confusion, were surprisingly good sports about it. As we walked through the back corridors of the school, whispers started to erupt. Is that Ariana Grande? I heard someone gasp. My heart hammered against my ribs. It was actually working. We strategically timed our entrance just as Liam was about to go on stage. The crowd was buzzing, and the lights were dimmed. My bodyguards parted the way, and I, in my most majestic fake celebrity stride, walked to the side of the stage, feigning disinterest, pulling my phone out as if I was too important to pay full attention. The whispers grew louder, turning into outright gasps. Then, the music started and Liam began to play. He was incredible. His voice was smooth, and his guitar playing was flawless. I found myself actually forgetting my elaborate charade for a moment, genuinely mesmerized. When he finished, the crowd erupted. He bowed, a shy smile on his face, and that's when it happened. Our eyes met. Just for a split second. But in that moment, something shifted. His eyes widened, a flicker of disbelief, then recognition, then awe. He actually looked impressed. My heart did a somersault. This was it. This was my chance. As he walked off stage, he paused, clearly unsure if he should approach me. I decided to make the first move, or rather, Sam did. She nudged me forward. I took a deep breath, adopted my breathy Ariana voice and said, that was really beautiful. You have a lovely voice. Liam, looking utterly flustered, stammered, thank you. I can't believe you're here. I gave him what I hoped was a charming, slightly mysterious smile. Oh, just in town for a private event, heard about the talent show. Thought I'd pop by. He practically beamed. We talked for a few minutes, mostly about his music, and I tried my best to sound like a knowledgeable, yet slightly aloof, pop superstar. I asked him about his inspirations, complimented his technique, and even managed to drop a few vague, celebrity-sounding anecdotes about the industry. He was completely captivated. He kept glancing at me, a look of wonder on his face. This was either going to be the greatest success, or the most epic failure of my life. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. I was in too deep, and Liam was clearly enchanted. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have kept up the charade, or would you have confessed right then and there? I wish I could tell you I came clean immediately. But I didn't. The high of having his attention, of seeing that genuine awe in his eyes, was too intoxicating. We exchanged numbers, or rather, my publicist Sam, furiously typing a fake number into her phone, did. She gave him a burner phone number we had set up specifically for this operation. Over the next few days, Liam and Ariana exchanged texts. My life became a double life. By day, I was Maya, struggling with biology and pining over Liam. By night, I was Ariana Grande, texting Liam about my busy schedule, my upcoming projects, and making vague plans to meet up when I was in town again. Sam and I would huddle for hours, crafting the perfect celebrity-sounding messages. It was exhausting, thrilling, and utterly insane. Liam was completely smitten. He would tell me in texts how much he admired my work, how kind I was to talk to him, and how he hoped our paths would cross again soon. He even started showing off the texts to his friends, subtly of course, but I heard the whispers. Liam's talking to Ariana Grande. The sheer absurdity of it all was overwhelming. The problem, of course, was that this couldn't last forever. Liam was getting increasingly eager to actually meet up. He'd suggest coffee, a walk in the park, anything. And Ariana kept having to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances, sudden studio calls, or a last-minute flight to Tokyo. The excuses were getting thinner and thinner. Chloe, who had initially been furious, was now just a bag of nerves. Maya, you have to end this. Before he finds out and you become a pariah. Even Sam, the architect of this madness, was starting to look a little green around the gills. Okay, so the joke's gone a little far, she admitted. We need a graceful exit. But I couldn't think of one. How do you tell someone you've been catfishing them as a pop superstar? The mortification would be too much. Then, disaster struck. Or, depending on your perspective, divine intervention. Liam texted Ariana with a bold proposal. He was performing at a small, open mic night at a local cafe, and he wanted me to be there. He specifically said, "It would mean the world to me if you could make it, even if it's just for one song. I want to play something special for you." My heart sank. This was it. There was no way out. I couldn't cancel again. I couldn't send a cardboard cutout of Ariana Grande. I was trapped. I spent an entire day agonizing over it, pacing my room, texting Sam and Chloe frantically. Sam, surprisingly, had a solution. Okay, she said, her voice grim. This is going to be painful, but it's the only way. You go as yourself. As Maya. And you confess everything. Blame it on a dare on being desperate. Say you got caught up in it. Beg for forgiveness. Chloe nodded solemnly. It's the least awful option, Maya. Be honest. He deserves that. The thought of confessing made me want to curl up in a ball and disappear, but they were right. It was time to face the music, literally. The night of the open mic, I was a wreck. I dressed as myself in jeans and a sweater, no high ponytail, no dramatic makeup. I looked like a ghost of my Ariana persona. Sam and Chloe were there for moral support, hidden in the back, ready to either console me or drag me away if things got too ugly. I walked into the cafe, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst. Liam was already on stage, tuning his guitar. He hadn't seen me yet. I found a small table in the corner, trying to be inconspicuous. When he started playing, he looked up, scanning the crowd, a hopeful expression on his face. When he didn't see Ariana, his face fell a little. It was heartbreaking to watch. He started to play, and it was a beautiful, melancholic song about longing and missed connections. It felt like he was singing directly to Ariana, and therefore directly to me. As he finished, the small crowd applauded politely. He looked disappointed but forced a smile. That's when I knew I couldn't prolong his heartache. I stood up, walked towards the stage, and when he stepped down, I called his name. Liam? He turned and his eyes widened in surprise when he saw me. He didn't recognize me instantly, not as Ariana, anyway. He just saw Maya. Maya. What are you doing here? He asked, a hint of confusion in his voice. I took a deep breath. Liam, I need to tell you something. Something really important. My voice was shaking. It's about Ariana Grande. His brow furrowed. What about her? I looked him straight in the eye, trying to keep my voice steady. I asked tentatively. He sighed, running a hand over his face. Honestly. A little. I feel like a complete idiot, actually. I was genuinely convinced I was texting a global superstar. My friends are going to roast me alive. He paused, then looked at me, a genuine smile forming. But I also get it. And it worked, didn't it? You definitely got my attention. We spent the rest of the evening talking, really talking, for the first time. I explained everything, the dare, my crush, my fear of rejection. He admitted he was incredibly flattered, if also incredibly embarrassed. He even found the humor in it, once the initial shock wore off. He told me he had actually been vaguely aware of me in history class, but I had always seemed a bit shy. He never expected me to be capable of such an elaborate prank. We laughed, we apologized, and by the end of the night, something truly unexpected had happened. We had connected. Not as Ariana Grande and her admirer, but as Maya and Liam. It wasn't an instant romance by any means. There was still a lot of awkwardness, a lot of teasing from his friends and mine, who were just relieved I hadn't completely ruined my life. But he started talking to me in school, walking me to my classes, and even asked me out on a proper, non-celebrity date. We ended up dating for a few months after that, and the Ariana Grande story became our inside joke, a testament to the crazy lengths I would go to for him. It didn't last forever, as most high school relationships don't, but we remained good friends, and the story of how I catfished him as a pop star is still one of my favorite, most embarrassing memories. It taught me a valuable lesson about authenticity, and also about how sometimes, the most ridiculous plans can actually, unexpectedly, work. So that's my insane story. What do you think? Was it a stroke of genius, or the dumbest thing a person could ever do? Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more stories like this, and share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next story.